In a great and prosperous land, there lived a man named Michael Williams, known far and wide for his wealth. He was the kind of man people whispered about in marketplaces, whose name carried power in courts of kings and chiefs. His businesses stretched across many lands. His home was a palace, and his riches were beyond counting. Yet, despite all his wealth, Michael was troubled. For years, he had been married to Lisa, a woman of breathtaking beauty. Her skin glowed like the morning sun. Her laughter could make men turn their heads, and when she walked, her steps were as graceful as a river flowing over smooth stones. But Michael had begun to notice something that disturbed his heart. Lisa loved the life of luxury. She adorned herself with the finest gold and diamonds, dressed in silk imported from distant lands, and never missed a chance to show off her wealth to her friends. Michael often caught her boasting about the things he had bought for her, but never once had she spoken of him with the same pride. One evening, as Michael sat alone in his grand study, staring at the flickering flame of an oil lamp, a thought settled in his mind like a shadow creeping over the land at sunset. If I were not rich, would Lisa still love me? This question began to eat at him. It followed him when he lay in bed at night. It whispered to him when he sat at his feasting table. It clung to his mind like a scent of rain before a storm. He needed an answer, and the only way to find out was to put Lisa to the test. Michael was not a man of weak heart. He was known for making bold decisions, and this was no different. One night, when all was quiet and his mansion lay under the watchful eye of the moon, he made his preparations. He took off his fine robes and wore the tattered garments of a beggar. He smeared dirt on his face, ruffled his hair, and scuffed his feet to appear as one who had walked long and hard without rest. When he looked at his reflection, even he barely recognized himself. This is the only way, he murmured to himself. He left his home in silence, slipping past guards who knew him only as their wealthy master. But when he returned, it was a man without a name, without riches, and without honor. Michael stood before the grand iron gates of his own mansion, a place that had once welcomed him with open arms, but now, dressed as a beggar, he saw a different side of the world. The guards, who had bowed at his arrival, now stood firm with the spears across. They looked at him with disdain. "What do you want, old man?" One of them sneered. Michael's heart pounded, but he kept his voice steady. "I need to see Lisa. I am her husband," he said. The guards burst into laughter. "Her husband?" another mocked. "Do you take us for fools? The great Michael Williams is in another land doing business with kings. He is not some filthy beggar knocking at the gates in the dead of night." Michael insisted, but the more he spoke, the more they mocked him. Finally, they shoved him away. "Leave before we beat you for wasting our time," one of them growled. Michael clenched his fist, but said nothing. He had expected this. He would have to find another way inside. As fate would have it, a delivery truck arrived at the gates, carrying goods for the kitchen. While the guards were distracted, Michael slipped past them and made his way toward the mansion. His heart raced and he approached the grand doors, his own home, now unfamiliar and unwelcoming. Summoning his courage, he knocked. The door opened, and there she stood, Lisa, his wife, draped in silk robe, her skin glowing under the golden lights of the mansion. She looked as beautiful as ever, but the warmth he once thought he saw in her eyes was missing. She frowned at him, her nose wrinkling in disgust. "Who are you?" she asked, her voice cold. Michael's throat tightened. "Lisa, it is I, your husband, Michael." She stared at him for a moment, then threw her head back and laughed. "Michael? My husband is a powerful, wealthy man, not some beggar covered in dust. You must be mad." Michael felt the weight of her words settling.